This is an in-person meeting, but due to extenuating circumstances, we needed to make that accommodation this evening. So once again, I'll start to my left, and if we can go around the table, please.
David Ragsdale, a member of the school committee and also a parent in the district with a high schooler, a middle schooler, and a graduate.
Dave Thompson, interim superintendent.
Olivia Caselli, member of the select board and parent to 2 graduated children, 1 in 10th grade. Very nice.
Paul Ruggiero, assistant superintendent of administration and finance for schools.
Ronnie Phillip with Durham Whittier Architects, and I'm the project manager.
Lee Dorr with Dorn Whittier.
Paul Melarani, permanent building committee, 2 grads, 1 junior in high school.
I'm Mike Camosio, I'm a parent member of the school building committee, parent to a 10-year-old and a 5-year-old.
Stephen Turner, school committee, also parent of a recent graduate and a sophomore in high school.
Justin Couchet, Northside parent of a 7th grader and a 1st grader.
Greg Leiter, parent.
Vivian Verbedian, vice chair of the school building committee, also a parent to a kindergartner. Oh, no, she's in 2nd grade. There you go.
Kate Bissell, I'm the principal of the Wildwood.
Stacey Scott, the principal of Wildwood Street.
I'm Eric Seidel, I am the town manager.
Nicholas Golden, school committee and parent.
Dennis Kelly, superintendent of public buildings.
Greg Bendel, happily retired from the select board. Father of 3 children in the school district.
Chelsea Nutri, Vice President of Pre-Construction Services with Fontaine Brothers Work and New Buildings.
Rob Day, Project Executive for Fontaine Brothers.
Chad Buckley, project manager with Fontaine Brothers.
I'm Craig DiCarlo, Senior Project Manager at Left Field.
David Sandin, OPM, project manager at Left Field. My 2 boys are grown up and off the payroll.
And then can we open up the line to acknowledge the 2 parties that are Diane Allen and Christine?
Hi, Christine Prendergast, and I am a Northside parent. I have 1 in the high school, 1 in the north, and 1 in the Woburn Street.
Diane Allen, a member of the Permanent Building Committee, 2 graduate students of Wilmington High School that now have their own graduate students.
Perfect, thank you.
Judy, Christine Holleran is virtual but doesn't have an audio button.
Okay, are we able to allow her audio? Thank
no,
you.
because she's so far as Annalise, she's just an attendee.
Okay, so she's listed as an attendee. Can you share her background if known?
Christine Holleran is
Yes.
a kindergarten teacher, at the Wildwood,
Okay.
and she's been here in the district for 30 years.
Okay, Christine, we do see you and acknowledge you. I apologize that you don't have volume to be able to speak to us, but we certainly wanted to recognize you in the meeting, so thank you. So thanks everyone for doing that. Prior to moving into the heart of the meeting, I wanted to just take a moment on behalf of the entire Wilmington School Building Committee to extend our sincere appreciation to everyone who has supported the Wilmington Elementary School project from its very beginning through the recent milestones of town meeting approval and the successful ballot vote. This project has been years in the making and represents the dedication, collaboration, and commitment of so many people throughout our community. To our residents who took the time to learn about the project, ask thoughtful questions, attend meetings, and ultimately show their support, we thank you. Your engagement has been instrumental in bringing us to this point. To our partners at the Massachusetts School Building Authority, to town officials and staff, the school department, and the design, construction, and project management teams, your guidance and professionalism have been invaluable every step of the way. And to the members of the committee, thank you for your countless hours of volunteer time, thoughtful deliberation, and steadfast focus on what matters most, and that is providing Wilmington students and educators, with a modern, safe, state-of-the-art, and inspiring place to teach and learn for generations to come. While there is still much work ahead tonight, we can take pride in knowing that together, we've achieved a significant and meaningful milestone for our town and its future. Thank you all for helping make the Wilmington Elementary School project a reality. At this time, I'd like to move into the approval of minutes. In your packet, you received a draft minutes for the meeting that took place on July 22nd, 2025. And again, that was included in your meeting packet. That was distributed last Friday, October 10th. And the draft meeting minutes were labeled as item number 2. So at this time, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the school building committee meeting held on July 22nd, 2025 as issued.
So moved.
Do I have a second? Okay, discussion. Hearing none, roll call vote, please. Vivian?
Diane Allen,
Yes.
Greg Bendel,
Yes.
Kate Bissell,
Yes.
Michael Comosio,
Yes.
Justin Couche,
Yes.
Nick Golden,
Yes.
Christine Holleran.
Yes.
We can't hear that, thank you. Dennis Kelly,
Yes.
Lilia Maselli,
Yes.
Paul Mellarani,
Yes.
Craig Minor,
Yes.
Judy O'Connor,
Yes.
Christine Pendergast, David Ragsdale,
Yes.
Paul Ruggiero,
Abstain.
Stacy Scott,
Abstain.
Eric Schlegel,
Yes.
Dr. Thompson,
Yes.
Stephen Turner,
Yes.
and myself, yes.
Moving on to the next item on the agenda is item number 3, which is administrative, and it's specific to the invoice summary and warrant, which will require a vote. And at this time, I'm going to turn it over to left field.
Thank you, Judy. So Left Field prepared invoice summary number 20 for review tonight. Within the meeting packet from last Friday, the invoice summary was included as packet item number 3. For invoice summary number 20, we have a due and Whittier invoice for $1,650 related to traffic study services, an invoice for $11,550 related to energy modeling, and then in addition, we have a Cartoonian invoice for $1,080 related to the pillar video services associated with the project information outreach. The finance working group reviewed the invoices prior to this meeting, and at this time, I will defer to Dennis.
I'd like to make a motion to approve invoice summary 20 in the amount of $14,280.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded for discussion. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please, Vivian.
Diane Allen,
Yes.
Greg Bendel,
Yes.
Kate Bissell,
Yes.
Michael Comosio,
Yes.
Justin Couche,
Yes.
Nick Golden,
Yes.
Christine Holleran, Dennis Kelly,
Yes.
Lilia Maselli,
Yes.
Paul Mellarani,
Yes.
Craig Minor,
Yes.
Judy O'Connor,
Yes.
Christine Pendergast,
Yes.
David Ragsdale,
Yes.
Paul Ruggiero,
Yes.
Stacy Scott,
Yes.
Eric Schlegel,
Yes.
David Thompson,
Yes.
Stephen Turner,
Yes.
and myself, yes. Motion carries.
Thank you, Vivian. Additionally, related to invoices, now that the project has passed and is moving into the next phase, Left Field will manage the entire MSBA ProPay system, and we have expanded the budget, which we're going to review shortly as part of this presentation. And in the coming days, we're going to be meeting with Paul Ruggiero and Thomas Donahue to coordinate the changeover, but I wanted to thank Paul for all of the efforts that he has helped Left Field with catching up from an accounting standpoint. And next slide. Perfect. If you don't mind, I'm going to stand. So I know it's difficult to see, but this was part of the packet. What we did is we wanted to do just an internal audit of all of the accounting during the feasibility study. So with the help of Paul and one of our colleagues, Dan Sweeney in the office, we did that. So the look ahead, these are the 4 cost codes that were associated with the feasibility study. Total for the feasibility study was $1,215,000. Spent to date, including what was approved just a moment ago, is $1,189,117. We have a forthcoming invoice of $10,535 that will come before the committee at some point. The services related to that invoice have not been done yet. So the anticipated cost of completion is $1,199,652. Essentially, we're forecasting an underrun of $15,348, which that savings will be transferred to, I'm going to call it below the line when the budget is expanded, which will make more sense in the next slide. So, again, something you can't read from where you are. However, again, this was part of the packet, but this is the Left Field expanded budget. This top portion is just the 4 cost code 4 cost codes associated with the $1.2 million I'm rounding. And then we've expanded everything. Thank you. So I can't read it myself, but the total is
265,626.
Thank you. Yeah, 173, 265, 626. So we have it set up where column A is the budget. This is the budget that was established prior to our arrival. This can be considered the MSBA 3011 budget. We're going to make moves along the way, and as we make those moves, this is always going to have a variance of 0. We're just moving money from one bucket into another bucket. So this is the current budget, same number. And what I wanted to show for the takeaway is that there's going to be a savings here. That is going to get moved into owner's contingency eventually. And then when we expanded the budget, the takeaway is that, again, about $15,000 is going to be moved from one bucket to another bucket. The left field contract has been executed. I'm going to present that in a moment. But our contract is the same exact value of what was carried in 3011. However, there's various cost codes for the OPM services. Our contract, some of our values are higher and some are lower, but as an aggregate, it's the same amount. For Whittier, their contract amendment number 4, which is for all of these services beyond the feasibility phase for completion of the project, their amendment 4 as an aggregate is actually $240,000 under what was carried in the 3011 budget of what was budgeted originally. Any questions on this? We can come back. Next slide. So what we did, this is just a cut and paste of the budget, so for transparency, everyone can see. We'll just go through the other slides, it's the same thing. So as you can see, we've gone from 4 cost codes to mini cost codes. Next slide. All right, so project budget next step. Since we are moving money around from one budget line item to another, the vehicle to coordinate this with the MSBA with their ProPay system is a budget revision request. I don't know if this was presented prior to our arrival. We know that you've already approved one, according to ProPay. So next month, we're going to be presenting budget revision request number 2. We're moving the $15,000 of savings from feasibility into owner's contingency. The reclass for left field, we're just moving money from one bucket to the next. There's no savings. And then for Whittier, we're going to be moving $240,000 from a few cost codes to owner's contingency. So when we present this next month, I didn't want it to be somewhat of a surprise. Next slide. Left field contract, like I said, after the successful passage of town meeting, the contract was ready to go. It just could not be executed until funds were secured. Our contract was executed. The contract value is $4,780,000. That's exactly what was carried in the 3011 budget. And we're just going to be aligning it with the existing cost codes in the MSBA system next month. Next slide. So the Whittier contract amendment number 4. It is an amendment increase of $14,901,622, which brings their total contract value $15,900,618. Like I said, there's $240,000 of savings, and that will be moved next month via the budget revision request. And then I'll pass it over to Craig.
Fantastic. Thanks, David. All right. So what we're looking at here is with part of your packet, just to help everybody plan, future coming months. We have laid out building committee meetings for the remainder of 2025 and the full calendar year of 2026. So with 2 caveats. One is if one of these meetings isn't needed, there's no business, we'll cancel it. We don't want to waste anyone's time. And two, there may be times when we need to add meetings in or shift them around a little bit to kind of coincide with MSBA deadlines, et cetera. So we laid them out based on the third Tuesday of each month. Let me just go to the next slide. Third Tuesday of each month, with the exceptions of February and April, because those fell on school vacation weeks and we thought it might be tough to get a quorum. So we pushed February to the fourth Tuesday and April to the third Tuesday. Second Tuesday. As with tonight's meeting, we'll send you calendar invitations. We'll do those in like batches. So you got the one for tonight, but then tomorrow I'll send them around for like the next 6 months, just so they get in everyone's calendars to help you plan things out. On a related note, we created an email distribution list that you are all invited to, and it looks like you all received it because I saw the packets being downloaded, so that system seems like it's working. If you do, and so we'll use that same distribution list for communicating with the committee. If you do have a question, I would just say please reply to like David and I directly. Don't do a reply to all, because then we get into weird things with the open meeting laws. And that is it, unless anyone has any questions.
Craig, I actually have one item that I forgot that's related to funding. On October 6th, the town received the project funding agreement from the MSBA. This agreement is in the process of being executed by various parties. Once executed, it will be returned to the MSBA for signature. And this PFA document is essentially, it's a recap of the project scope and budget agreement that has already been executed. And I'd say think of this project scope, think of the project scope and budget agreement as it's an offering from the MSBA on participation in the project, pending the town securing all necessary approvals. And once the town secures the funding, it just is memorialized in a project funding agreement, which has a 120-day offering limit, which we're well within. So by next month, the report is going to be fully executed and sent to the MSBA. And then we also have a schedule slide. So this slide, it's essentially a 275 activity schedule that we have put together as a deliverable. We will utilize this as a vehicle of communication with the MSBA on a monthly report. Not that I want to dive into 275 activities, but next slide. We did boil it down into just a very simple Gantt chart. What's in a box is the MSBA deliverables. We have a design development package, a 60, a 90, and 100%. Those do align with certain early release packages, but I wanted to remind everyone that we're here and Fontaine is not showing up next month. That there is a runway that's going to happen, whether project permitting, construction permitting, trade pre-qualification, but Fontaine is not mobilizing until the end of June next year. So again, this is just high level, so you don't have to dive into 300 line items in a schedule. Pass it over to Bill and Whittier.
I'm going to have you drive, but so we are back. We're so excited. We have been looking at the plans. We're trying to identify areas that we can make some improvements as we're preparing for this next phase. One of the things that we are looking at is the first floor plan and the entry and cafeteria area. One of the things that we wanted to do was orient the vestibule so that it's engaging both where students and users of the building are entering, whether they are from the bus or the drop-off. So we've tried to look at the orientation of the vestibule. We've also widened it so it's a little roomier. One of the effects that this has is it's providing a more, I would say, realistic, the other was realistic too, but it's just giving it the admin space a little bit of more room because they have 3 people that will be working in that space, and then orienting the waiting area so that it's just not as elongated. So that's one of the differences. The other big difference really that stemmed this was the flex classroom towards the end of the project, the last phase. We looked at that flex classroom. It used to be shared with both music and art. So that's the red space that you see when you're walking in. That space is now directed more towards music, and so we wanted to create an alignment with the other music-related spaces that were on this first floor. So the far right side of the plan was where the instrumental music is. So they're all still in the same area, but now they're more aligned, so it's just creating that alignment. This in turn has created another effect where that flex classroom moved to the location where you have the large open windows into the cafeteria, so you can see they have kind of switched spots, if you will. So this created actually an opportunity to extend the canopy of the main entrance over to meet the flex classroom space. So it's a larger covered area for all of the students that are waiting outside. It's a protected environment for them, especially we're in the Northeast, inclement weather is a real thing. And so trying to do that as well. This in turn also impacted some of the circulation in the space. So just creating clearer circulation paths. You'll see that the stair that used to run along the flex classroom, which it used to be oriented east, north-south, is now going to, we're proposing locating that more north-south. So thank you, Craig, who's pointing at all of these. You're doing a great job. And another big factor too was one of the comments we heard when meeting with the music department was the number of chorus students and trying to fit them all on stage. And previously, the proscenium opening was shallower, and so it wasn't as long. It didn't allow for full viewing if all of the chorus students were on that stage. And so we've widened the proscenium opening, and that's what you're seeing here as well. So it's elongated this space. So those are the main changes that were made on the plan. We could go.
Before you move, does that affect the overall square footage of the building that the cost estimate was based off of?
No, so it's, we are still in alignment with the square footage. So that was a big piece of just a lot of shifting to make it work.
Part of our process, right, is when we were in the early schematic design plan was we have a mathematically derived total square footage adding up all the boxes, and then magically that has to line up with all of the designed boxes that space. So we always struggle in the early phase to try and get those two numbers to match up. So this is part of our cleanup effort to make sure that our plan aligns completely with that square footage. So these moves get us to exactly within what the cost estimate was based off, what the program submitted to MSBA was based off. And it, it cleaned up some geometry, made some things a little bit user-friendly, and I think it really did some good work to the facade of the building, which you'll see in a minute, trying to reduce that scale just because of the occupants that we're using. I think it does a really effective job on that.
Yeah, no, I think you guys had made it very clear that the drawings would be fine-tuned as the further and more of the process. I just wanted to make sure that we didn't add any additional square footage. Thank you.
We could go to the next slide. So this is to give you an idea of that proscenium opening, and we were looking at the furniture layouts. We have two configurations that were shown. So the top is what we had at schematic design. You'll see the bench seating, the number of seats that are fitting on the stage, and oops, and then the bottom half is where we are now as we're starting design development. 140 chorus students using 4-step risers to fit. That proscenium opening went from 30 feet to 45 feet to make this fit work, but then also really looking at visibility for a spectator, making sure that any of the guardians, parents, family members, that they're able to see a full view of the stage. So looking at that both from if it was loose seating, which is on the left-hand side, and then also the bench seating potentially for the right-hand side. And the right-hand side is just a layout of fitting the bench seating for 300 plus students in the cafeteria space. So this is the impact on the second floor. As you can see, the perimeter of the library, that configuration has just changed slightly just to match what happened on the first floor. And then that stair where you can reach from the first to the second or go down. Also, we've looked at the configuration of that. Part of that is from an egress standpoint. The landing needed to be on this west side, and then egressing down, whether they were coming down and how they would either connect into the cafeteria, potentially connect down directly into the circulation or back to the vestibule. So initial conversations, this seemed to provide the best alignment. We are going to be meeting with the district administrative team to review all of this and look at how their egress practices would be in this configuration.
Ronnie, Diane, Alan's got her hand raised.
Sure. Hi, Diane.
It does not look like she's muted, but I see she's got her cell phone in her hand, so maybe she's calling in. Or...
Nothing in the chat.
No.
It's like you're a traffic controller.
Yeah. All right, well, maybe we'll come back to that.
Yes, thank you.
And then the last piece I'll just point out here is you can see that roof plan of the canopy area, where before they were 2 to 3 separate canopies. We've created one connected larger canopy. And we've created some imagery to share this with you. Do you have a question?
Oh, any intent to make that canopy maybe a green roof that overlooks from the library?
I have Diane Allen, so. Put on speaker.
Sure.
Hi, Diane.
Oh, I can't hear anything.
You're on speakerphone.
Okay, I cannot hear them.
So she can't hear us presenting?
Yeah, okay. I can't hear anything.
It was working earlier.
Okay.
Maybe try calling back in.
Do you wanna, well, you can do one of two things. You can either stay on my phone, or you can try calling back into the meeting.
All right, let me try calling back into the meeting. Let me see if that works.
All right, thanks.
Just a moment. Thank you.
We just take a pause, I guess?
Yes, for station identification. Yes, sir.
While we wait, is there a closer picture? Because it's a little bit, in the DD study, it's a little bit, I don't know, when you have closer to see the new changes. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, that's
We're not gonna leave you hanging.
It's not like your phone where you can just like
I know.
with your finger.
Yeah.
In reality.
I can see.
Hi, Diane.
Yeah, no, I just did that.
So we're gonna go back.
Get a new voice. Is Christine Prendergast having the same problem?
To focus modes,
I have no issues.
and then we're gonna get out of it. So, but we're back to the travel mode. But if I go up here to control center again,
Maybe it's
and then tap on the focus modes, my travel, now we have one called My Focus. And if I tap on that, now we have the apps on the home screen we chose.
Speak when you want to speak.
And we have the lock screen that we chose as well. Again, you can go into Control Center, tap on, and you can turn it off, or you can press on it. You can choose a different focus mode. One thing you need to note is that when you create new home
asked Angel to
That was from Diane.
diplomatically
Oh, okay.
override.
Oh, so maybe, yeah, it was
Yeah, that was from Diane's gonna do the minutes we needed to start.
Oh.
a tutorial.
All right.
Okay. So where were we at?
Okay. So, we also have this model, just to give you an idea. You might need to mute that.
Oh, did you
We're gonna
can't
get
hear
an
us?
echo.
Okay, next.
But if you turn your speaker volume down all the way.
All right.
Mic.
Now I can hear her. Wait a minute, Paul.
Yeah, we can hear
And we can hear you
Yeah.
now, Diane.
Okay. Yep.
Don't touch anything.
Step away from the computer.
Diane, I'm gonna hang up, okay?
Okay.
All right, see you later.
All right.
Can you still hear us, Diane?
Yes, I can. Thank you very much.
So the top image that we have is where we were left it at the schematic design. The bottom image is where you start to see that larger canopy, really trying to give that southeast corner a more prominent entry for the building. If we go to the next slide, we'll see it closer up. So here you can see the split canopy sections that we had at schematic design. There was a little bit of competition happening where the cafeteria entrances and then the main entry, so we were really trying to create that southeast corner of the building as a more prominent entry for the building, but then also be connected to both the vehicle drop-off as well as the bus loop. Again, that gives a real protected area for students underneath while they're waiting. Also, it provides shading for the glazed area in the cafeteria as well.
May I ask a question on that? I'm just looking at it. Can you talk about like water runoff and whatnot, like if it's pouring rain, for example, like does it just come straight down, or is there like a gutter system to like do runoff so that kids aren't just getting pelted like on the fringe?
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Sure, there's definitely a gutter system, but it's storm drainage.
Tied in, okay.
It's all tied into the building.
Perfect, thank you.
We'll try not to have any scuppers randomly
You
creating
know
water
what I'm
falls
like,
down.
yeah, thank you.
Again, these are some additional, these are just of the DD study that we did. Both are the newer images, just to give a couple different angles of what this potentially will look like.
Ronnie, quick one on that. The overhang above the library, and first of all, I really like the more expanded covering on the first one, on the ground floor. The overhang of the library, there's the gap to the right of that where those sheet windows are from the cafeteria. But I'm assuming from a solar perspective, having that notch there doesn't create a really interesting lighting in the very early mornings, because that side faces east. Or would it make sense for that overhang to extend and connect above? And I'm deferring to the experts, it's the thing that came to mind, it's an interesting angle, and it's right above the big glass windows, so I was curious.
So we'll be looking at that as part of a solar study, and then we'll refine it based on that if we need to. Yeah.
Thank you.
Good observation.
Vivian, did you want to segue into your question before?
No, we're fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
We just thought with that long horizontal element, right, running right through the entire building, it really helped from where we were at ST, just to make that building feel smaller at the entrance.
Yeah. No, I think it looks so good, and especially the fact that it allows for the full name of the school as well, opportunity. That's great.
To be determined.
Whatever the name.
We're not going to talk about that tonight.
Whatever the name lands.
This is an interior view looking in, so you come in from the vestibule, you enter in, you'll have the cafeteria on the right-hand side, you will have the stair in front of you, and then to the left would be your admin space. What happens under the stair, still to be explored. Obviously, we're going to be going through user group meetings with the administration and staff and can figure out what that will be. But figured we have space under there. You don't want to be walking under it anyway because you'll hit your head, so create a fun space potentially for the kids. This is a look, now you have that glazing closer to you where before it was further away, just playing with different elements, but that, you know, configuration of the wider proscenium opening, obviously it looks a lot wider. And then, you know, or in the back, you'll have the kitchen area. Right now we're showing grills. We used to have doors there, but we found as we were looking at the layout of the serving area that potentially having the pull-down grills would be more efficient, but working through those.
Ronnie, in this view, excuse me, where would the emergency exits be?
So the emergency exit is, so that wall that kind of has the trees right now, just beyond that you see doors. That's where the quiet cafes are, and the doors align correctly with the circulation path now. So if we were to go back to the plan, Craig, if you go back a couple. Okay, so on the top, do you see where you have the 3 green spaces on, you have the red, and the green 3 small cafes, and then you have a vestibule. In the DD version, we've moved the vestibule so it's more in line with the circulation path to exit out of the building.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
And that wall with the trees, is that a fixed wall?
It is, because that's the wall of
Against the
flex classroom.
Yeah, okay.
And this is just another view looking back, so you can see that stair is now connecting the first and second levels.
And just like the trees that you mentioned, right, that's us playing around with things, we haven't got it all determined. And Dennis, don't get too excited, there's no light fixtures hanging down in this image, but we haven't gotten there yet.
My voice is being heard.
And then this is just a look back towards that vestibule where you enter in.
One quick thing on the stairwell, I can't tell if there is or not, but we talked about it after I went to, what was it, Westwood. They had to go back and add the second railing because there's so many little kids that they needed a lower railing too. Is that?
That'll eventually
That'll eventually,
be
okay.
These are quick studies, so.
One follow-up, if I may, just on the, with the leaf configuration that we've talked about in other meetings, you know, that's for sound. Do you feel like that is going to be adequate? And is there any other means of dealing with sound and doing something that's a little bit more all-encompassing so it's easier to clean? Like I could just imagine it's going to be, I know this may not be the topic for this conversation, but I want to just put it out there as we're talking about design ideas. You know, like the senior center, for example, you can articulate it better, but there's more of a full wall structure for sound. You know, I don't know if it's more costly to do that versus something like this, but I'm just thinking like over time, this might accumulate dust. If one needs to be replaced or gets damaged, you know, are they aesthetically gonna look different? So I just wanna bring that up.
Yeah, it's definitely, I know what you're saying. At the senior center, the whole ceiling is it, so the sound attenuation of the ceiling, so it just blends, you don't notice. We're here, we're hanging the leaves, if something was to happen, then how do you replace one? What do you do? And then, talking to custodians tonight, anything that hangs, kids are gonna use that as a target, you throw things up the top of it, and it becomes another point of cleaning. So you can do sound attenuation without, in a different manner. I know this is like maybe a cool effect look-wise, but maintenance-wise, it does become an issue down the road.
Sure.
Where the other stuff, the other types of sound attenuation kind of blend a little better.
But it gives you a great argument for your scissor lift.
I'll get a new one. Every building we build now has a 25 to 30-foot ceiling. I'm getting one.
So on this project, we have an acoustical engineer looking at specific spaces. So this is one of them, so we can come up with a few different scenarios of what we can do to try and attenuate the sound. You know, that wall that's just left of this image, right, that has the trees on it, right, that can also be an acoustical wall, right, that's perforated to be able to get some of those things. We're not giving up on the Dennis fight yet with the acoustical clouds. We're going to come up with something that, you know, is maintenance free as we can. But we do have, right, it's all terrazzo floors, there's glass, we have to do something to treat that space, right? It's high volume. So is TBD what we end up with there? We've heard you loud and clear on that stuff, but it's kind of similar like if you go into the auditorium, right? And you've got those clouds that are up there that are hanging. I'm not sure how often you go up and clean those, but.
It's a different type of atmosphere that the students aren't in there. I mean, the new thing is to fold up Post-it notes, and you can fold them and stick them in the ceiling tiles. That came across this week, and they were all over the ceiling tiles around this building. So those are the types of things I think of as, you know, in the auditorium, you're less likely to have a bunch of kids in there doing that, but when you have the cafeteria and things like that, it will happen. You know, you find a flat surface high up, there's a bottle sitting on top of it, or paper. It's just a target. But like I said, there's a lot of different things that can mount to the ceiling, to the walls, and you still have a beautiful area without those types of things.
Yeah, there's a lot of different acoustical treatments we can do up there, so we're still studying it.
Yep.
Thank you.
And then this is just to give you an idea of a couple of tasks that are coming in the next month. We have updated traffic study that's in progress, so based on the last traffic study, there are a couple of items that we're working with the town on to address. So that'll create an updated traffic study and then additional work, especially with pedestrians and a couple of other factors. So that'll get updated. Hydrant flow test that actually happened yesterday on site, and that'll determine the storm flow, the water pressure flow. So once we have that information, that'll dictate, for example, what'll happen with a suppression system in the building. Environmental site assessment, that is ongoing. It'll really start at the end of the month. We also have user group meetings. There's 4 of those that are scheduled. That's with the major departments within the district to revisit every type of room, and really every room we'll go over to create and review the room data sheet. So we created that in the last phase. That literally there's a room data sheet for every single space in this proposed building. And the room data sheet is how we track all of the different items, whether it's lighting, security, like what are the door features into the space, casework, anything like that will get tracked on these room data sheets. So we generated them after the last phase or within the last phase, and then we'll use those to review that with all of the users to move into this space to make sure that we've accounted for everything. So that's really, because that information is what is the basis for the estimates. Then we have boring and test bits, and then that will be, the dates are gonna be confirmed. And then we're also going to be looking at scheduling what's called an ambient noise level measurement. So that's to understand what the current exterior noise decibels are at, and then what we can design to based on that. So it gives us a baseline of where we are at today, and then as we're designing things, we will look at how much noise we're adding to the site and making sure we're staying within a particular range. So we're within code.
So for the design updates that you showed, I think that most of them really look at like nice improvements, like the additional overhang and the facade, and the the main vestibule, the other vestibule aligned with the circulation flow. I think the only thing that doesn't look like it kind of slid nicely into place is the staircase. And so I would just hope that, I'm not exactly sure what the solution is, because of course I'm thinking about like, well, I don't know, where could it go? How could it be? You can't block the office space. Do you want it in front of the window? But I think that maybe is the only piece that like didn't have a good home to fit into, and so I just would hope that we can give a little more thought and experiment with what we might do with that, because it kind of looked like a little bit just like, well, we got to get to the second floor somehow, so I guess we got to put it somewhere in here, just shooting out into the middle of the cafeteria. But.
Yeah, running off that, is there code nowadays with active admin and things that a stairwell coming down would be facing away from the door or towards the door? Like, is there things that like that come, so if someone came through the front door, the stairwell isn't just there to go up, it hooks around? Is those things that have to be thought of when you're doing it?
Yes, absolutely. So we did look at a few configurations, and honestly, Dr. T was the one that pointed out to us that, if an intruder were to come in, instead of, because we did show one where the stair was actually facing the vestibule, thinking, hey, when someone's egressing, they're going to egress out. But it's something that we're actually going to review with public safety as well, and that really will probably be the leading factor as we're starting to configure that space better. A lot of it also had to do with not impacting the cafeteria space and creating a break in that. And you know what, I did not point out, but I'm not sure if anyone got it, was that the gymnasium entry, we actually shifted that over slightly, just to create more of an open area, and that would give like closer proximity to the corridor instead of creating, thank you, Craig, he's going back. One more, there you go. So the entry now into the gymnasium is right off of the corridor, and then also that stair is in that space as well. So it has this wider opening in that location, which is at the end why we created this configuration for today's presentation. Like I said, we're going to be studying that at the end of the day. Public safety is going to have a lot to say, I'm sure, about that, and we will, work with them to figure out the best configuration, but also looking at, how the school is planning to use it as well. So that'll all factor in when we get to a final solution.
So you probably don't have the answer now, but in terms of cut fill, do you know if this is going to be in quarter surplus or a general idea?
It's in progress.
Yeah, part of that is, and we've talked to Fontaine quite a bit about, what we're storing, what we can do to, remediate some of the soils and the sites to be able to use it for structural analysis. So we need to do some more borings to get a little bit better sense on that. So that's coming up, but it's certainly, we've been batting it around a while, how best to manage that, how best to reuse as much as we can on site and limit the amount of export and trucks in town. So it's high on our list. We just need some more information to be able to make those final decisions.
Is that complete? Okay, so thank you, Ronnie. So moving on to item number 5 on our agenda is the advisory group's update. And I'd like to just kind of kick that open here with kind of an entrance to this item, which is that now that we've entered a new phase of the project and with the recent engagement of Left Field as the owner's project manager, Left Field has undertaken a review in conjunction with project leadership to determine the best path forward for refining decisions associated with the project. This recommended path was conducted in alignment with public law and standard practices utilized throughout the Massachusetts public design and construction industry. This process aims to manage decisions and design refinements expeditiously for the project and committee moving forward. That said, to maintain project momentum, transparency, and efficiency, we are going to recommend that certain tasks be formally delegated to individual committee members, and these individuals will act on behalf of the committee to oversee specific aspects of the project, aiming to maintain progress on deliverables and adhere to the established schedule. Each delegated individual may meet regularly with members of the design and project team, as well as with other committee members and town staff who possess relevant expertise, provided that the assembled group does not constitute a quorum of the school building committee. These working sessions are intended to allow for a detailed and often lengthy review and discussion of the project refinements. Following these discussions, the delegated individual will present the findings and a recommended course of action to the full committee for consideration and formal decision-making as they feel appropriate. This approach ensures transparency and compliance with the open meeting law, while also providing the flexibility necessary to efficiently manage the numerous technical and design refinements that occur during this stage of the project. Some areas of task delegation include, but are not limited to, sustainability, site and civil design, interior design, furniture and equipment, technology, security, and other elements of the design and/or operations of the school, which has not yet been defined. That said, after speaking with the committee and town leadership, we recommend that Dennis Kelly be delegated the individual for sustainability and site and civil design aspects of the project. As the project continues to move forward, we will come to the committee with other recommendations for other areas of design we just mentioned. So I know that's a lot to kind of lay out there, but having said that, obviously Dennis is superintendent of public buildings, he's a town employee. Certainly that does not limit his ability to go to any town personnel or experts or to confer with other people while understanding the open meeting law rules of engagement. So that said, I would like to recommend a motion for the committee to entertain, if anyone is willing to do so, that Dennis Kelly is designated to review, advise, and make decisions regarding sustainability in site and civil decisions related to design refinements associated with the continued design of the project on behalf of the building committee, provided such decisions remain within the approved project scope and budget and four corners of the project as approved. Dennis may consult with committee members and non-members, provided the consultation does not reach a quorum of the committee. Dennis may also, at his own discretion, bring updates and decisions back to the full committee for review, advice, and/or action.
So moved.
Motion been made, I have a second. Any discussion? I'm going to just recognize Stephen Turner, and Diane, I believe you're going to comment as well.
So when it says the word scope that you mentioned, I'm assuming scope includes the educational program. Is that correct?
So,
Scope of, for
Well, I'm gonna
the scope of the building project, I believe includes that, so I would want to make that point clear. And so if that was a decision related to sustainability or civil engineering that impacted, say, class design or location of any of the educational services, presumably Dennis would then consult with interim superintendent, for example, or whoever was appropriate, but that's part of that scope or not?
it is. It depends, there's going to be certain decisions that are so minor, but still a decision has to be made.
Yeah.
But a decision that may have a certain impact that may pivot the project or the scope or adjust something dramatically, obviously, that would come back to the committee. But, there is, as an example, at some point, we're going to talk about interiors, and interiors it does have a effect of the delivery of education.
Exactly.
Yes, Eric?
I just want to say, this feels like it's substantially similar to the way that we dealt with the HVAC system. We were talking about earlier, there was a subset of people that reviewed the HVAC systems and did the deep work, and they came back to the committee with a recommendation as to how we should move forward, and we acted on that recommendation. So this is just, instead of it being a subset of the committee, it's an individual who will work with the subset of the committee and also other stakeholders, and then bring that back to the committee for those larger questions.
Thank you. Diane Allen, did you have a comment or a question?
I'm all set, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Yes.
I think I would just echo a little bit of what Mr. Turner said, which is that I would want to make sure that the school personnel are closely consulted on aspects that really affect the experience of children in the building and anything that touches on education, which is going to be almost everything as part of that. And I have total confidence and faith in Dennis as the superintendent of public buildings. But I also just want to make sure that there's always educators thinking about every decision that's being made.
Okay. Yes.
Thank you. And to what extent would we be kind of hearing like an after action report, just kind of like the decisions made, they're kind of minor, but especially from like public transparency, if it's like a site decision, people are like, would we get an after action report on like, oh, this week we actually did this minor change that moved the 3 trees here, or what was that look like?
Depending on the trees and the location.
That's an example.
As an example, again, depending on the location, probably yes, but in other areas where the location of the tree might not be sensitive to where the location may be, probably not. I think it's going to vary depending on the decision, but there will be updates that will come back to this committee.
And when you talk about the site and trees and different things on this, Jamie McGolly and DPW, the engineering department, that look at all these things, I use them as a reference. I'm not looking to, I always say I'm not an educator, so I can't talk about every classroom and what to do. That's where I turn to the committee. But no matter what we do on any large decision, we'll have to come back to the committee for a vote.
One
So,
one
we can
other,
talk about it.
from a kind of a technical example is, there's gonna be a meeting with the fire department about the Siamese connection at the building. Whatever they tell us is the standard Siamese connection within the town of Wilmington, we're going to use. Typically, from experience, I would not bring that back to the committee, because, but some other decision, yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of decisions that will be made that won't affect educational areas and different things. And then there'll be decisions that, have to come back and communicate. But that's the importance of the groups that are gonna be meeting with Ronnie over the next month, we'll call it, developing these things. So it's definitely not, me making decisions for all that's gonna be brought back or anything, but the simple things that need to keep the project going, need to help get the design done, that don't affect anything, those are easy ones.
They could be endless meetings about hardware.
Yeah.
Door hardware, and there's probably 500 doors, if not more. There would be a high-level update on the door hardware coming back to the committee, but not at a granular level.
I also, just to add to that, I think just as a matter of course, and you guys have seen how we work in this fashion, our design updates are really taking you on that journey from decision points that we made. When we update you, we highlight those areas. So whether it's going to be at the site, whether it's interior design, and whether we're going to be pointing that stuff out in our design updates. And there's certainly with these groups, and to Eric's point, they're going to operate really exactly the same way we did when we had the previous site group meeting and the sustainability group. These are just another approach of doing that. We're going to be adding folks to Dennis's teams on site and sustainability to include most likely the folks that were on that before, and reaching out, right? Because there are a lot of educational impact decisions that can happen on the site. We're going to be talking about playgrounds and different types of equipment and how kids sequence from the playgrounds into the building, into the cafeteria and back out. So all those types of things, we are going to be looking to make sure that our audience is appropriate for the questions that we need to get answered. So I think this, overall is a much more efficient process. You can imagine with a $173 million project, there's an infinite amount of finite little decisions that get to be made. And kind of what our role is to kind of be, the cruise guide going through here and saying, these are where we're changing. Let's talk about this. Make a decision as a group based on the recommendation of these smaller groups. We're really diving into the weeds and then proceed forward.
Yeah, and one of the things, when we talk, the comments made about sustainability, Michael Comosio brought a lot of expertise. I'd be foolish not to talk to Michael on some of the stuff around that, because that's what he does for a living. And, we threw things back and forth and worked very well together. So I'd reach out to someone like him. And all the resources that Durham Whittier have, or Fontaine, you look for all those types of things. It's not done in a vacuum, and it won't be done. I promise I won't do it in a vacuum.
One other quick one, I agree with Mr. Drysdale, I completely appreciate all your expertise, Mr. Kelly. But he's also just one person, he's gonna take vacation in the next couple of years. So
I'm really taking it.
But I'm not being completely facetious. If you've got one person that you're relying on, and he's got another, I hear a full-time job and a half or two, and vacation, and is it logical to have one person, or should it be him plus? I'm just deferring the process experience to you guys in some ways. Is that a great way to do this, or?
We have to designate one individual, and that individual can pull others together. But it does have to be delegated to one, according to advice within the Attorney General and kind of experience in the unique characteristics of mass public construction and mass public law.
So these are much more nimble working groups, right, where we'll be able to plan ahead on the subject matter that we're talking about. And so when Dennis does take his vacation, because he does deserve one, then we'll be working around that, and we'll schedule stuff ahead of time or after and get the appropriate people in there. So I don't see that having any significant.
Awesome, thank you.
And then things can continue to flow. Again, we're talking about things that have to do with the property. Jamie McGalley could still be having a conversation with Durham Whittier, and those types of things could still happen. I wasn't looking to take more on. It's part of the process and control. So I just stepped up to be the person so that we can help streamline and keep it going. And again, everyone's input's important. I'm not looking to be that. And I won't be the only one. like I said, they'll come here for votes on major things. It's all the small stuff that most people here aren't even thinking of that you have to make a decision on, that you'd be amazed.
I think, you know, again, like, this is one big committee. I mean, just like I'm the chair and I'm making decisions to kind of get us ready with the project team to come here, so I've weeded out certain discussion topics, and there's a level of trust and comfort that I'm gonna do the right thing to try and prepare to come into this assembly. Just like Town Manager Slagle has the autonomy as a town manager, but he's gonna evaluate every decision he makes and brings the compliment of the select board, even though it's in his purview to make an executive decision as a town manager. So that same collaborative process, the same thing with David with the school committee, none of that goes away. And there's no benefit to Dennis to not have the full complement of the committee behind him, especially with a very large project that everybody's paying attention to. So it's more like he's the captain, you know, of that particular team, but we're all still on the same team, and he's gonna use good judgment to say, is this something that I need to bring to a bigger complement of people, or is this something, because we only meet once a month, I don't wanna hinder the project in the, you know, in the project timeline by having to bring every single decision back to the group in order to make things happen. So, you know, it is a very important task. I'm not trying to minimize that, but it doesn't take the control away from this committee to be effective in making decisions. And, you know, we all know, you know, that we're building a school, and we also know, like, we're building a building, but we're also building an education center. So those two things have to have a wonderful, harmonious relationship through this whole project.
Could I just add one
Yes.
quick thing? I've only had the opportunity to work with Dennis for about 4 months, but he is highly collaborative. And if you've known me for the last 4 months, I'm not particularly quiet about what we need to do to make sure we have the best facility there. So I think between those two things, I think we'll probably be in a good spot. And this is not unusual. This is what happens. You have one person, usually your facilities building expert, who is leading that charge.
Vivian, I believe you had a hand.
No, Christine had her
Oh,
hand
okay,
raised.
thank you. Christine?
Oh, sure. So my question is, so after the sustainability group gets identified, when and how do we start forming the other groups and align to those groups?
So right now, we're just ready to start with sustainability and site and civil, but based on the continued design refinements that Dawn Whittier is working on, we will roll them out shortly, but we did not want to kind of hit the committee tonight with everything. So just to maintain the trajectory we need to maintain a schedule, it's sustainability and site and civil for now, but others will.
Yes, Nick?
Hey, and just an earlier discussion, I have total confidence in Dennis, and I think this model of running the committee and getting the work done is the right model. I just want to make sure that each of these people, each of these captains, so to speak, are comfortable bringing back, these are monthly meetings we're going to have, just bringing back an info, an update of like, here's what we did. It doesn't have to be doors 10 through 5 or this one and this, but it can be, we did choose this hardware for those doors. Again, especially for like, just for the site work, again, like, as long as we know, like, okay, we chose that for this and we did that change, but it can be high level. As long as each of the people, whatever subgroup we choose them for, can update the broader committee and the public watching at home, that's my key concern. So.
Yeah, you gotta remember that I'm working with Wildwood and Dawn Whittier, so we're using their expertise to bring the recommendations in. Like I'll give an example, we spent a couple weeks ago talking about which toilet paper holder to put in the bathrooms of New Town Hall. I mean, that's something you need to bring to a committee, you know. But then there were other more major things, should be a cherry roll down, you know, where we brought it back to committee, should be what type of floor we brought it back to committee. Those are the types of things that Paul, Diane, and I are used to doing when we make decisions working with designers and contractors. So there's a bunch of, like I'm saying, little things that, you know, we'll need to get decided quickly, and then there's a bunch of stuff that we're gonna have to have meetings to talk about and take the input of everyone involved.
Actually, Dennis, that's not really true. We really need to know when the paper goes over or under. I mean, this is a monumental piece right now.
You know, and I would just, you know, certainly we can continue to discuss as long as we need to, but, you know, this isn't an open and shut conversation tonight. Like if you're not getting at any point throughout this whole committee experience, if someone isn't getting the communication from me as the chair, or from an OPM, or from a designer, or from a construction company, like our door is always open. You can always call me, you can always express, you know, I'd like a little bit more meat on the bone in terms of these updates, and we can get granular to that point. We're trying to lay out a roadmap and a plan of engagement, and if there needs to be modifications, or there are committee members that are not satisfied with the level of communication or how the flow of things are going, then we need to get that constructive feedback, because we can't fix what we don't know is an issue. But we feel that this is the right course of action as we move forward.
If I could add on that, Judy, as an example with, you can see how we expanded the budget. You know, it's probably 100 and something line items that add up to the budget now. We will be reviewing that periodically with Judy and others who Judy may determine is appropriate. And we will go into a Zoom meeting or an in-person meeting for probably 2 hours to really scrub that budget. So when it comes back to this committee and that budget is provided to the committee as an update, the bottom number is not going to change, but it's a thorough review of every line item in the budget. It's kind of a good use of the committee's time that a few people can say, we lost 2 hours that we will never get back, that we spent with left field. And for the rest of the committee, there's a comfort level that a few others that might be in the room that are numbers people have looked at. Just as an example. Because I don't think anyone's interested in going through 150 line items of a budget in a public meeting forum.
So any other discussions? We have a motion, we have a second, we've had discussion. Is there anything further? Hearing none, I'd like to take the roll call vote, please.
Diane Allen,
Yes.
Greg Bendel,
Yes.
Kate Bissell,
Yes.
Michael Comosio,
Yes.
Justin Couchet,
Yes.
Nick Golden,
Yes.
Christine Hollern,
Yes.
Dennis Kelly,
Yes.
Lilia Maselli,
Yes.
Paul Millerani,
Yes.
Craig Minor, Judy O'Connell,
Yes.
Christine Pendergast,
Yes.
David Ragsdale,
Yes.
Paul Ruggiero,
Yes.
Stacy Scott,
Yes.
Eric Schlegel,
Yes.
David Thompson,
Yes.
Stephen Turner,
Yes.
and myself, yes, motion carries.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 6, which is a public engagement update. So we have also received communications from members of the public who have been instrumental in supporting the project from its earliest stages, and who are now asking how they can remain engaged as the project moves forward into the next phase. So I wanted to talk about that, you know, with the committee and the public. First and foremost, we want to express our appreciation for their continued interest and commitment from community members. To stay informed, we encourage the interested parties to attend the monthly school building committee meetings, which remain the primary venue for project updates and discussions. Meeting agendas are posted at least 48 hours in advance, allowing interested parties to review them and decide whether to attend based on the topics of interest that will be discussed. A meeting schedule for the remaining months of 2025 and 2026 have been presented as part of tonight's meeting, and they will be published. Please note these dates, understanding that they may be adjusted on an as-needed basis based on various factors that could happen. And additionally, the project website will continue to remain active with the posting of the project presentations and other various project data points. In addition to the committee meetings, there will be a few public events planned throughout the life of the project, including a groundbreaking ceremony, a steel topping off ceremony, and a ribbon cutting at the conclusion of the construction. During construction, the team may also offer structured tours at key milestones to provide community members with an opportunity to observe the project's progress firsthand. Also, the school department is preparing a press release about the project. A draft was included in the meeting packet under item number 6, and the press release is planned for November 1st. So everyone should have that in hand. Any questions or comments on that? Okay. So moving on to item number 7, which is discussion correspondence and new items. So with regards to communication from abutters, please know that you have not been forgotten. I know that we have abutters that are here this evening. We welcome you. The design team will continue to evaluate measures related to the adjacencies and site impacts affecting the neighboring properties. As a reminder, while certain core elements of the design are locked in, the overall design remains approximately 30% complete. As we move forward into development, targeted outreach to abutters will take place at the appropriate time to review design considerations and to address concerns. As we approach the construction phase, the construction manager, Fontaine Brothers, will establish a project-specific website that will include weekly high-level updates posted each Friday, summarizing anticipated on-site activities for the week ahead. This website will be open to the general public and will be accessible to anyone wishing to follow the project's progress, not just abutters. We also recognize that some members of the public have raised very specific questions about traffic, access drives, and circulation. At this time, some of these questions cannot be addressed. Please note that various aspects and elements of the project are still under development. Design refinements will be made as the design advances and the required engineering analyses and design are completed. Moving on to a very targeted inquiry, which is very important, and there's been much discussion about it regarding vehicle idling on the North Intermediate School property. And I'd like to report the following to this committee and also to the guests that are here tonight and people that will be watching at home. The no idling requirement is a state law and it is not a local policy. There are exceptions for buses on school grounds. Non-buses or vehicles on school grounds may idle up to 1 minute within a 15-minute duration if the exterior temperature is below 35 degrees or above 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Town leadership has met with the Department of Public Works, the Police Department, and building facilities to coordinate efforts related to installing no idling signage. Building signage is anticipated to be installed by this Friday. 2 pole-mounted signs have been released for fabrication and are expected to be installed within approximately 2 weeks. The school department will be conducting outreach and education to parents to remind them that no idling is a Massachusetts law and that it will be enforced by the Wilmington Police Department. In closing, I wanted to emphasize that a large public building project such as this is very complex in its iterative. Design details will evolve as we continue to balance educational programming, community needs, technical and code requirements, and budget considerations. We ask for the community's patience and trust as we work through this process. Each step brings us closer to a final design and ultimately to a new facility that reflects the collective vision and values of the community. So at this time, I'd like to open it up for committee questions, please. Any questions from the committee? Anything at all? Yes, David.
This is actually a very finicky logistical question to Craig or David. One of the links that you sent us was for, like, there's a SharePoint involved and some kind of group. I wasn't sure what exactly we were supposed to do with that, and when I clicked on the SharePoint link, it was asking for a password. So I don't know what we're supposed to do with that or how to do it.
I'm going to defer to Craig because he is more technically advanced than me.
The email was from Craig.
Yeah. All right, I have my name on it. So, yeah, there were 2 emails. One which I sent out, which was the invitation to the group. That was probably the SharePoint one.
Yeah.
So I don't think you need to take any action on it now that I've sent it out. You're all in the group. And then the other one, which hopefully you had access to, was to a shared folder and that had the 10 PDF files in it.
Yeah.
So going forward, you'll just get that the one to the link to the shared folder with 10 PDF files.
Our goal will be able to, our goal is to, if our meetings are on Tuesdays, our goal is to send out the packet by Friday. And the goal is to send 1 email to the committee. If there's, an error, we'll send a corrective email, but the goal is 1 email, 1 complete packet. And the presentation from Dawn Whittier will be, I'm gonna say, 98% complete. There's always some fine tuning that happens. That's the intent. What's that?
I said we don't stop working. Just
Correct.
the packet has to go out.
It's hard to get. Yes.
Paul?
Two things. Just detailing up what you guys said about the SharePoint files. Will those files be archived in case we have to go back and find a document that I generally just don't print everything out and bring it to a meeting, and I don't generally keep electronic versions on my machine. But if I have to go back and look at something, will there be an archive of, like, say, week of documents, week of?
We have a very good filing system within our server, not perfect. But for committee meetings, I have to say our filing system is very good.
And that'll be available to us?
If you ever say, can you send us the packet from a year ago, we could do it.
And I'm pretty, sort of to come over on top of that, I'm pretty sure that we have Tracy post the whole packet to the website, so that'll be available on the website.
Correct.
Like a day or two after each meeting.
Okay,
and then that remains there, that's the duration of the project.
And the second question I had was, you said there's, Madam Assistant Town Manager, you said there was exceptions for school bus idling. Do we have any power over those exceptions and what they are? Because I think that probably school bus idling is probably a bigger problem than automobile idling on the site.
I don't have the specifics, but I do know that there's exceptions. If it depends on the bus, if the bus is air conditioned or not. And, I think unless someone here knows exactly what the
I mean, I can tell you in general, just from looking it up over the last time, those are the sections are state exceptions, so we can't override those.
We can't, there's no waiver process or anything, no appeal process?
No, not for those.
Just, because I'm thinking the
just-
site is very close to a butters, and I'm just trying to think about all this stuff in advance.
I would say that, I mean, the benefit of this site is, once we reconfigured to where the buses are about as far away from the site
Yeah, I know that.
as you can get, but but those, it's a state level.
Okay, and who will be monitoring? I know you said the police will be monitoring idling cars. Will there be anybody in the school out there monitoring cars that are idling?
So I will say to you that we had an all-hands-on-deck meeting today. We had Deputy Chief Sensabaugh, we had Jamie McGaldy, we had Dennis Kelly, we had the leadership, we had all of our project partners, we had David and Paul. So I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Thompson after, but we're trying to have a cohesive team approach. This is a we issue, and we want to be cognizant of the abutters, but just also following the law. And so it's going to start with the education within the system to faculty and staff, SROs or school resource officers, getting it to the parent, guardian, student population, and with signage. And so David can take you through the mechanics with the school side, but the signs going up and the communication to the public and to the staff and all that I just articulated has to happen simultaneously for it to be effective. And then Deputy Chief Sensabaugh has specific offices in mind that he is going to ask to be part of the other process. Now, there are some gray areas based on some of these exceptions, and so it's going to be a collaborative, trying to work in a friendly manner with the public to have everybody do their part to follow it. So we don't have a playbook to say exactly how this is going to be received and accepted. We've talked, obviously it's within the school's purview to work with their own staff. That's not something that Eric and I would try and approach any school staff members. We're going to let the school handle that, and David can speak about, talking about a teacher or a principal that might be on a duty cycle, how that's going to be handled. I'd like to, refrain from commenting and leave it to the school end of things. We have been talking with the police department, DPW, and with public buildings to make sure that the town piece is in order, and we're working collaboratively with the school. So I'll turn it over to David to pick up from there.
Yeah, so so the first thing we need to do is get the signs out, and then we need to educate parents, and community members about, this is the law, we're gonna start asking you to follow the law, and then, working with staff to identify and remind people if they didn't necessarily see or read, which we all know is definitely a possibility, and then, if we have a problem or a consistent problem, then, we'll work with Wilmington PD to enforce that. I mean, there is a $100 fine for the first offense and $500 for the second fine. So, you know, it is substantial to not follow it. My experience in other districts has been, once you've educated people and the signage is up and you just go, hey, look, oh, sorry, you know, that's what happens. Sometimes people don't pay attention if it's 25 or 30 in a speeding zone, same sort of thing, remind, you know, and work from there. Generally, you know, this is my 9th year as a superintendent, I've never seen a ticket actually having to be given. Most parents understand that, you know, having a whole bunch of fumes around is not particularly good for anybody, and they care about their kids. So it's just about educating and pointing it out.
Excellent, thank you, I appreciate the time today.
Sure. Yes, Vivian?
One question related to correspondence and new items. You mentioned that as the project approaches towards construction phase, will we be having a separate project-specific website set up by Fontaine, or will they make their updates on the project website? So is it intended to have 2 separate websites or just one?
So my game plan or intention is that it would be a Fontaine, it would be a separate Fontaine website, simple portal that they're able to control it themselves. They can provide the update Friday by noon, Friday by 11, and it's going to be high level, bulletized what's happening the following week. I've seen that in past projects with success.
Yeah, usually they'll have like a drone shot as well, a couple of like visuals, but it will put the link on the project website so that
They would be some sort of cross connection, yes. So if someone's on the project website, they could say, oh, I can get to the Fontaine website by clicking this icon. And on the Fontaine website, the same.
Right out in the open, so people don't have to dig for it, right?
Right,
Yes.
that's my biggest concern, I don't want people
I
digging
just have
for
to
it.
say that the Fontaine website, you have, like, there's not gonna be an email send out every Friday, it's been updated, they have to log on themselves.
Yes, Stephen?
Very quick one, and I would defer to the leadership team on the final decision on this. I'm not suggesting we debate this today in particular, but we had 7 really successful community forums in advance of the vote, and you mentioned community events at the groundbreaking, topping off and ribbon cutting, but it might be appropriate as we're making some, I mean, we're going from 30% to 100% design, to have, prior to construction start, to have another community forum to really go through some of the design changes, like the facade that we just walked through today. Some of our community members will have the time and availability to come to our meetings monthly, but a fair number won't. And so if we had a single event that was perhaps an hour like we did with some of the prior forums, have one of those somewhere in the range of April to May, April to June next year, to really give it a cumulative update, might be a fair way to the community members that don't have the ability to come regularly, just to consider.
It's an excellent point, and I would also just share with you too, just as a reminder, and I know you know this, but also we're going to have our annual town meeting as well. So under committee reports, we would be looking for the town moderator and the town clerk to allow us to get an update at that point as well to the public through the town meeting process. But certainly that's not to negate your point, but that would be an additional avenue as well. And you know, certainly it doesn't, I would envision that there will be periodic updates to the school committee and to the select board and to the finance committee as well, because they're gonna wanna have some updates to it. So we can certainly take that under advisement and understand where you're coming from on that. Anybody else on the committee? Okay. So at this time, I'd like to move into public comments. If anyone would like to speak, I would just kindly ask that you rise. And, or you certainly don't have to rise, but if you can share your name and address, and I would appreciate that. Yes, sir.
So Sean Canyon, 24 Ballardvale, and you know, we're overly concerned about the emissions for the pickup line, obviously where our property is. And my main concern is, you guys are talking about different people have different expertise in different areas. Who has the expertise in health and safety concerns for pollutants, fine particles and emissions that I kind of look for our best interest with this project? Because it's not on the, haven't talked about it on here again. So who can be the expert? Where did that expertise come from? Because is that something doesn't seem to be in that budget anywhere? Is to have an additional cost? You have to get an environmental specialist, work with the state, and the window is closing for this project.
I can tell you that we have spoken with Dawn Whittier about that, and it's being looked into.
So that's just to elaborate on that, that it would be an environmental hygienist specialty consultant that is on our team. And so we have started that conversation with them to be able to look to see what is the best avenue for us to get kind of baseline and projected data moving forward. So yes, we have taken that part. We do have expertise on the team who is aware of the issue, and so we'll be reporting out of that.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes.
I'm Karen, 24 Belleville Street. The captains that you're talking about, like you're going to be a captain of sustainability, does that fall under our concerns? We want protection like trees and, I don't know, you'll probably find out when you do your EPA study what will be protecting us from those emissions from the pickup line. So does that fall under Dennis?
That falls as a Doran Whittier design, collaboratively with the committee. They're gonna make recommendations based on all of the site analysis that they're doing. So between Doran Whittier and Fontaine, they're gonna, and with Left Field, they're gonna be bringing recommendations back based on their findings as to what they recommend. For tree plantings, today, for example, they did a site visit, and one of the comments that was made is that we're definitely gonna have to need a significant amount of trees in different areas. So it's already been looked at, it's being discussed, those exact plans have not been laid out. I use the term captain just as a point of reference, and that's not an actual term. It's just a designated person that's going to have ownership for doing the lion's share of the work to be reporting back to us, but I'll be clear, and Dennis is not going to take offense to this, Dennis is not going to be deciding as one person what trees go on the site. That's just one example. With that particular topic, he's going to take a lead role in fostering the meetings and bringing information and updates to the committee for any big votes that need to be taken. So we need a day-to-day person that's going to be in the trenches, that does this for a living, that can spend the time and has the expertise and can consult with others to bring back the information to the group. So this project is not going to sit on the shoulders of any one person, but we need to identify some key personnel to be identified to take the lead on certain decisions and bring them back to a greater group. We are a very large group, as you can see. If we try and take a 22-piece luggage set and carry it everywhere we go, we're not going to be very successful. If we give one person some roles and responsibilities, it's meant to be a level of project efficiency that we think will work.
I'm just concerned with, him and I maybe have had a little moment here and there. I don't know what that was. And also some of the posts I've seen over the course of this whole project on the ES website, just feeling uncomfortable. Some of these people are on the committee and they've made negative comments about my concerns.
So I certainly don't want to minimize your concerns or any sort of hardship that you have felt from this project. And I know we've spoken many times, and I've certainly tried to communicate back. I will tell you that people may have thoughts and opinions on this project, whether they're for or against it, that don't resonate well with other people. And I'm not gonna tell you how to think and feel, or that you shouldn't maybe take a comment personally. I'm not gonna tell you how to think and feel. But I can tell you that I feel, in my opinion, that the people that are on this committee are committed to this project, that they are people of character and integrity, and they're not targeting you or your family or anyone. And you may have a differing opinion, you may not like a comment that they made, or they may be passionate about a specific subject matter, but I don't feel that anyone, in my opinion, that has reached a level that they're not worthy of being on this committee because they may have a different opinion.
So I just want to bring up one little thing. I'm sorry, it's very embarrassing that someone would say that. So I was voicing my concerns about, you know, the emissions are gonna be right there, 10 feet, or currently 15 feet from my property line. And they said, well, how are you dealing with the current situation? You're a half mile from 93. How are you dealing with pollution currently? That's someone on the committee that said that. So what am I supposed to make of that? How can I be sure that all of these people are gonna make a decision that's gonna help me?
So I think that they would,
Maybe not saying it properly.
no, I understand I understand exactly what you're saying, and I don't want to get in the middle between you having a conversation with another committee member or somebody posting on social media.
And everyone saw it, everyone here saw it. If you're on the Yes website, you would have saw it. Actually, Karen would have seen it.
Excuse, one,
Yes, because I think she's the one who
Yes.
has on it.
Michelle, no, but I'm clear on, I appreciate that, but
Everyone saw it though. Why would you say that to someone? How are you currently dealing with the pollution? If you're a half a mile from 93, it's right here, black and white, exact words.
yeah, but I understand where you're coming from, that you may not have appreciated that particular comment, but it's someone responding back. Anytime you go out on social media, it's kind of a lion's den out there. I mean, it's not a safe space to be communicating to begin with, so I think if you have questions and concerns, this is the appropriate forum to bring those questions and concerns with parties here that can actually influence decisions and try and make the situation better.
I don't want to have any issues. I don't want to have an issue with you. Like every time I see you, I don't want to have an issue. Can we accept that? I don't want to have an issue.
Karen, all I would just say is please direct your comments to me as a chair. I understand that you may have comments or questions that were posed to you that maybe are not to your satisfaction, but I'm not going to have a direct debate between you and other parties in the committee. You may not have liked the comments that were made, and I'm not going to try and sway your opinion, but I am not going to, you know, they can speak for themselves.
I can speak to him after the fact.
Certainly, but what I want to tell you is that the concept of emissions and idling, we are making a sincere effort to try and address that for your benefit and for everyone else's and for the health and safety. And in terms of public safety, we have police and fire. They weigh in on environmental issues, concerns. We have department heads that oversee their departments, such as the health department. We have Shelley Newhouse. You know, we do a myriad of different safety things within our purview within the town. And if the municipality, in this case, the town of Wilmington, needs help, we would reach out to the professionals, which we do, third party all the time, whether it's environmental, through our project partners. We seek the appropriate answers. We know our expertise within the town of Wilmington, and if we need to bring somebody in to complement our services to make sure that we're doing the best effort we can to create a safe environment for you, that's what we will do. There are certain things, just so you know, and this is not meant to be an adversarial comment to you. It's very difficult to know in emissions where it could be coming from. Are there cars in the lot? Are there people coming on that main road? Is there any emission coming from Route 93? Is it coming, there's a lot of truck traffic that's coming down 125. It's very difficult with what's emitted out to the ear to know specifically what car that corresponds to or what truck that corresponds to. So that's back to.
A half a mile is 2,640.
No, I know, I'm just saying.
This is gonna be 15 feet.
And I respect that, but I just want to point back to what Lee was saying, is that he's talking to the professionals that can actually advise us on how to measure these types of environmental concerns so that the data that we get back is actually credible and is accurate. Do you know what I'm saying? So I don't want to speculate how to even go about that process because I'm not an environmental specialist. I would be doing you a disservice to try and shoot off the cuff and try and give you answers. We have to do more to see how we can get a better action plan. It's starting with the no idling, and then it needs to go from there. And as I mentioned in the comments, we're not going to have every answer for you tonight, but we recognize the concern.
I just have two more things,
Sure.
Okay? I can't tell from the drawing, I'm just not sure where the front door of the school is in relation to my house.
So is there a way that we know where Ms. Kenny resides? Is there a way that perhaps we can get a more detailed picture, or maybe if it may not be prepared tonight, but some sort of a direction answer? Like, I'd rather have them zoom in on something and get it right than just try and guesstimate to you tonight.
Yeah.
Do you want to pull the picture up? Because I
think it would
Yeah.
help all of us if we could show the
Judy, just one quick thing. I just want to make a point that you've expressed your concerns, and as we met as leadership group, I was being proactive, and I can't buy the signs and say what the fines are, but I appreciate where you're coming from with worrying about this. So I ordered signs that say no idling and shows the picture, because that's what comes up quickly, by the DPW board is the ones that will say what the fines are.
Yeah.
So I did take it serious, and I do understand where you're coming from being in the butter. So I think the toughest part on anyone, from every project I've been part of in town, is the abutters. So I took it 100% serious. We've talked about it in every meeting, and I've talked about it with everybody, saying, what are the things we can do to be able to offer you down the road, and say, well, this is what you should expect, this is what you can see. We're not there yet, but those come out of my mouth every week, and I don't have anything against you. I truly don't go up and badmouth you or anything, so, but I was being proactive ordering. It says something's better than nothing, so it doesn't say fines, but it says no idling. I can put those on the side of the building. I ordered them on Friday, they'll be here this Friday, because no one stocks that type of thing locally. So if they come in Friday morning, it'll be a Friday afternoon. If they come in Friday afternoon, it'll be a Monday morning. And then DPW we gave approval to them to order it. But we are taking it serious, I'm taking it serious, and we are trying to address it. And again, Dorian Woody will work with professionals that can say what we can do to help benefit the area.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you.
So,
One
yes, yes.
last thing,
Take your time, there's no rush.
just give me a second. There's a current issue at the North Intermediate with the idling, I've noticed. When can we tell those people to not, like, they show up 20 minutes early and they sit there idling before the line's even moving? So it's like, can we get that to them, that like,
So again, it's gonna be to the communication plan that we articulated. You know, obviously the school is taking the lead on that communication. Certainly, you know, we can update, I don't have those exact specifics when the messaging is gonna go out, the exact day. I don't know, David, if you have a
they'll
target
eventually
plan.
be told though,
Yes.
and the
Yes.
signs, the
Yes.
signs
Yeah,
will go
like
up.
the
That's right.
the
That's right.
conversation we had last week was that my hope was to have the signs up by the end of the month and have the communication done by the middle of next month. So at this point, we're looking at probably having in our district-wide communication that going out on the 1st of November across the district. So, yes.
So that's why I'm asking where my house is in relation to the front of the school, because I wanna know, are they just driving by? Are they stopping there? Are they showing up 20 minutes early and sitting in front of my right there?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, so,
We don't have a second plan.
I
wanna see it for me too.
Yeah, I mean,
But we don't have it tonight as part of the
No, we have the
presentation.
rendering, we have the picture, so can you pull the picture up and kind of point to where,
yes.
you know, everything is
Just
in
wanna
relation
see
to the
the-
neighborhood?
The front of the school and where these cars are gonna be dropping their kids, they're gonna start lining
I
up.
think
I'm just worried
we
where
could
they're
show it,
gonna
I
be
just don't think
idling.
it would be very effective
Well,
for what you
but
might be looking
It's
for.
positioning, like, it's been the same position, so I don't, I mean, that,
so we can just go back to the front rendering where the front door is, where you're talking the overhang picture that shows.
yeah, just to show, like, there were a couple of drawings that we could pull in, just to see like where everything is. No, there were, those. Can you kind of point out what streets are where and for the neighborhood?
So the basketball court is on the far right. See the basketball court?
Yeah.
That's to the right of that basketball court is John Doherty's house.
Yes.
And on the other side of that basketball court is your backyard.
The basketball court's right in front of John DeVarney's house.
Correct.
My house is walk through that and
If you walk
here's
through that
Yes.
basketball court, your house is on the other side.
Yes.
So your backyard is on the other side.
So you see where that
where's the
crosswalk
front?
is?
Yeah, you see the
The
crosswalk?
crosswalk, your property is just past that in that kind of rendered tree line.
Yes, it's right past the basketball court there on the rendering. So where's the front of the school?
Where's the front end?
Where that school, you see on the top one, the school bus, that right there.
That's the front?
Yeah.
So will people be pulling up and dropping their kids? I'm not talking about the buses, I'm talking about the cars. Where are they gonna be stopping to let their kids out?
I don't think we have.
Primarily, they're
You don't
coming
have
around,
them.
they're parked, right out in front of where the basketball court is. So it's past your property, behind Ms. Doherty's property that's.
It's before her property starts first.
Well, they'll be coming back the other direction, they'll be coming this way.
Yeah, oh,
And then where are we now on that?
Behind the building.
Way out in the back.
Oh, I'm still unsure where the cars are going in and coming out with
I know,
relation
it's
to my house.
It really doesn't.
Have you seen the site model?
Yes, that's what I was just trying to get in my email.
Is there a picture of someone who pulled up a
Is
map?
that a two-way road next to the basketball court in John's house?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is, okay.
There's no views that show abutting lots. It's basically what the issue's been all along. We can't get a sense of whatever anything is.
So Karen, I think I did send you the picture of the,
Yes.
of the aerial view of
Still
the,
difficult.
of the.
Here it is, okay? It's like, it's on my phone, there's the picture there.
So what I can say to you is that we know that this is important to you. Perhaps we can work on developing something that might show it more
It's
graphically.
that model that's in Eric's office.
You know,
It's
well, it's sitting, it's right in the entrance of the
Yeah,
town
it's right,
manager's office.
you can come and
So
see
you
it,
can come and see it, but
it's in the town manager's office.
we can work on getting a more detailed photo
Yeah.
that's not
Like
shown
a
here.
Google Street View, something in
Yeah.
that sense would
Yeah.
be.
I'm just worried that the same issue that's currently happening at North Intermediate is going to happen at the new school. They're gonna come 20 minutes early, they're gonna sit there with their cars idling. It actually happens more so in the afternoon. They have 3 lines of cars and they're all idling there for 20 minutes. I walk around the school at lunch, I witnessed it with my own eyes. They're idling there. And the little kids are coming out and playing right there, 10 feet away from all that idling that just happened. Why don't those people shut their cars off
Yeah, so that's,
until the line moves and do the same thing when the new school comes?
so that's.
I don't want
And
that.
that I understand, and that's what this whole no idling
That's what it
initiative.
is, it's simple,
Right.
shut your cars off.
Yeah.
Is everybody listening? Are all those people that were at that meeting, 60% of you, shut your cars off?
Yeah. So I understand your concerns, and that's the whole initiative that we're working on now.
I don't want it
So,
to happen
yeah.
when the new school comes, so if you can address it now, maybe you can have a proactive plan on how you're gonna address it when the new school comes, because I don't want them sitting there. When
Understood.
I'm out there tending to my bushes, picking up sticks, out there with my dogs every morning, 3 times a day I'm out there with my dogs, and
I
more.
understand.
I'm just saying,
So-
I just want everybody to know what it is, I'm there.
No, and
I'm there, guys, and I'm not going
No,
anywhere, and I don't
absolutely.
wanna get sick from it.
I understand. No, and as I've been speaking to you multiple times per day, as we've
And I
moved through
appreciate
this.
that, I appreciate
I try and get
everyone's
back
freaking
to,
time on this.
You know, I try and get back
Okay.
to you every email I try and answer. And I
And
know.
somebody
yeah.
moved that line along, I don't know who it was the other day, they moved that line along in the morning, I was in tears after that. Do that when the new school comes.
So certainly.
Who was it? Who was out there? They're like an angel.
Well, certainly your comments are noted, and we are working on it. We're
Thank
working on
you,
it. Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Would anyone else like to make a comment? Yes.
Michelle Feeney, 5 Burlington Ave. Just 2 simple questions, I'll ask them both. One, when is the next abutters meeting, so we can address all of this and with the rest of the abutters? And 2, this is to Lee Door. We were promised artist renderings from each of our homes. When can we expect those?
At our first abutters meeting, yet to be scheduled.
No, that's actually for Judy, I think, right? I don't think you can do that.
So the abutters meeting, we had a leadership call today and we discussed it. So they absolutely know, as our project affiliates, that we want to get an abutters meeting scheduled. At this point right now, to have an abutters meeting scheduled would not be a prudent thing to do because we don't have a significant enough update to even come before you. This meeting is the update. This is where we're at. So respectfully stated, to go to an abutters meeting, say after this meeting, it's the same information. So we need to get the renderings like you talked about, like what you just asked, Lee. And then also too, we would have more information regarding the site, traffic, some of the other concerns. Some of the questions that would be asked is berms, trees, fencing. We don't have the answers to those questions. So, you know, when we get to a substantial update that we think would be worthy of coming before you, it would make sense to do that. We know what your concerns are up to this point, And we're working on getting that data point set together for you.
So what's a general target date when some of this information will be done?
What would you say?
It's in December.
Oh, December, okay, that's, so beginning of December, we can say, and then we'll schedule something out.
It's somewhat contingent on us being able to get the scheduled testing done that we're doing on the site to be able to derive some of the engineering solutions to get to the answers that you guys are looking for. So we're in the process of getting borings done and all of that. So that's why it leads us up to December. We just can't give you a definitive date yet.
Is there like an outside, unbiased party outside of Dorn Whittier that you're using for these soil tests?
Yes, it's a sub-consultant engineering firm that this is what they do. They go and dig soil water.
I mean, the renderings, I think, I'm hoping you're mentioning them together, but we were led to believe that each of our homes, someone would come, do the views, so we could see what the views would be from our individual homes, not just that in a bird's eye view.
Yep, exactly what I said. We're trying
Okay,
to
so-
create renderings from what it would look like in your particular backyard looking back at the project.
So what's preventing that from being done tomorrow?
Because we need to know what it is that we're going to be showing you in that view. Like, what are the trees we're picking? What is the height of the berm? How can we put the berm in there? Where are the wetlands delineations? All of those things. What are the soils? So in order for us to compile that design information to get to a point where it's something that you can react to and provide us feedback on, we have to do some of that exploratory and investigative work first.
And my last question is, you mentioned, I think, is it called the PFA, the project?
Project funding agreement?
Yeah, when does that due, and would it be possible to expedite that rather than having to do a public records request? Is that something that you're gonna post on the site?
Once it is fully executed, it will be posted on the website.
On the site, any target date for that?
At this point in time, I'm waiting for the primary review from town council about it. There's not much we can do because it's a state document, but you know, they are reviewing it, and after that, I mean, I'm hoping I'll have it signed before the end of the week, and then we have to send it back to MSBA.
Yeah, and if I can just manage
I don't know.
expectations, when it goes back to MSBA, it could take a month before we get it back executed, believe it or not.
Yeah, they don't move around.
Now, it's up to the town's discretion if we post it on the website with
For the execution.
yes, without the MSBA signature.
Would that, do you expect any changes from the MSBA that would prevent you from posting it prior to signature?
No, it's just,
Put a big red draft on it.
yeah,
Yeah, would you do, actually, can we agree that that would be the case, Eric?
Yeah, I mean, I'll talk to town council, but I don't see that being a problem.
Okay,
Let's
just,
put it
I don't
in
care if
draft.
it's a draft on it, that's fine, that should.
It's their document, so MSA is not gonna change it, they just take some time to get it signed sometimes.
Thank you.
So again, we would certainly do that subject to town council approving as for these. Any other public comments?
I have a comment.
Yes.
Karen Lee, 7 Arlena. One of my biggest concerns is all the water. I think I've mentioned that a few dozen times. There's so much water in that field. There's water, wetland on my property. At what point can we expect to see like a drainage plan? Or what you're gonna do with all the water?
I would expect us to be able to come back with some of those details at our first scheduled
Did you already
abutters
do
meeting.
the testing and everything for that, or?
We've done preliminary testing during the feasibility study, so we have an idea of what the soils and the permeability is. We are scheduling much more significant amount of borings on the site in lots of different areas, so we have a better handle throughout the entire site of what it is. And then we developed a stormwater design in concert with that. So I would expect that we'll have a pretty good idea when we meet in December with the abutters of what the stormwater management system is gonna look like on site, to be able to discuss that.
So one of the things that I did about 10 years ago in my house is when I was gonna build an addition, I had to put in stormwater management, the town conservation actually required that. It was pretty big.
Yes, this one is too.
Right? And I know for a project this scope is probably gonna be multiple.
Yeah,
But I can't imagine where you're gonna put it. I can't figure it out.
most of this is underground, it's not gonna be stored above ground, so we have, underground infiltration chambers for below access roads and parking lots. And so we're actually working with Fontaine right now, trying to figure out where the best places are to sequence those, to be able to, for
Because the water
construction
table is
standpoint.
so high.
The water table's pretty high, but we're not overly concerned about where it is right now.
Well, I know it's pretty high, so what I'm wondering is, if the water table is just a little too high, what do you do at that point? You bring in fill and just go less off of it? Is that how you kind of roll?
No, we wouldn't be bringing fill in, it's just a more robust stormwater system with more features in order to be able to evacuate that much water if the water table was higher than what we anticipated. But as I said, as we get more details on that system design, we'll be able to come back to you with a more comprehensive plan than we need.
Do we have that study? Is that study posted, the prior one that you did?
We've posted the borings that were done earlier, so those were part of the MSBA submission. The initial concepts for the stormwater plan were also included in the civil drawings, and they're also posted on the website.
That's in the preliminary application?
Correct, to MSBA.
That's the 200-something page document. that-
Schematic design submittal.
Yes. Anything more, Karen?
No, that's it, thank you.
Would anyone else
One
like
little
to?
quick, one little quick side.
Sure.
The EPA, like when you try to figure out what to put there, maybe look on that website. They give a lot of suggestions on what kind of plantings to use, obviously evergreens, but like dense, sometimes it's a combination of bushes and tall trees. Like it can't just be, put that 3-foot, what do you call that, pine tree?
The arborvitaes?
Yes.
Yes. So I can tell you that there were discussions even in the leadership call today. Again, not everyone is an arborist or a landscape architect, but, we've discussed, getting our site professionals to advise on what are the advantageous plantings that could help with that.
Okay.
So certainly that has been brought up today. It's been brought up previously, but most recently today. So certainly, I'm taking all of your emails. Even though I'm the person that's responding back to you, I look and I try and get back to you. If you send me 3 like in a short period of time, I may get back to 1, but I didn't respond to the other 2, and I think you've inferred that I've gotten back to you. I know, but I want you to at least know that I'm paying attention to you, that I see you and I hear you.
Okay.
And I'm bringing it back to the leadership, and I'm trying to engage the appropriate personnel. If I don't get back in touch with you right away, I could be in a meeting, or I don't want to just have a knee-jerk reaction and just give you an answer if I don't know the answer to the question.
Yeah.
So if we can just have that mutual understanding that I will be responsive, you can come right down to town hall and find me, I'm always there. And I certainly would make the time to speak with you. But I am getting back to you. I know that you've called a number of people and we've all gotten back to you.
Yeah, that was too hard. I don't have to do it when the new school comes in.
The biggest thing I would say regarding this project is that it does not go at the rate of a everyday consumer. These are large municipal projects that the life cycle of this project is very long. It is not a sprint, it is absolutely an endurance type function. So I would love to give you every single answer to every single question that you have today. And I'm very sincere when I say that, but it's much more involved than
I totally get that, I understand.
So, it's not that we're trying to hold back and not take your stress away. We just don't have the answers to all of the questions.
Yeah, they'll come.
So the best thing I can do is just tell you that. And it may not be what you want to hear, but, we hear you, your comments are documented in multiple places.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
So, would anyone else from the public like to speak? Okay, thank you very much. Moving on to number 10, which are the next meetings. They will be Tuesday, November 18th, 2025 at 6:30. We'll be here. And the next one after that will be Tuesday, December 16th, 2025 at 6:30. That will also be here. And just so you know, as we move forward with the opening of the Town Hall School Administration Building, at some point, those dates that we released, we may, and that this is not etched in stone, we may discuss a new location for the meetings. But until it's properly shared with all of you and the public, assume that they will be here until further notice, okay? So number 11 is adjournment. So at this time, I'm seeking a motion from a committee member to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, motion's been made, do I have a second? Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Diane Allen,
Yes.
Greg Bendel,
Yes.
Kate Bissell,
Yes.
Michael Pomosio,
Yes.
Justin Couchet,
Yes.
Nick Bolden,
Yes.
Christine Holleran,
Yes.
Dennis Kelly,
Yep.
Lilia Maselli, Paul Millerani,
Yes.
Craig Minor,
Yes.
Judy O'Connell,
Yes.
Christine Pendergast,
Yes.
David Ragsdale,
Yes.
Paul Ruggiero,
Yes.
Stacy Scott, Eric Schlegel,
Yes.
David Thompson,
Yes.
Stephen Turner,
Yes.
and myself, yes. Have a great night, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. The meeting's adjourned at